the grid of perfect logic. The red mud of Kisumu did not just cling to Achieng's worn black shoes. It seeped into the very fabric of her days. Every morning, before the sun had fully committed to rising, she was already walking. The road stretched before her like a wound in the earth, treacherous, slippery, a stretch of ochre clay that swallowed footsteps and spat them back out as memory. During the rainy season, it became a river. During the dry season, it cracked into jagged patterns that seemed to mirror the algebra she carried in her head. But to Achieng, this road was not an obstacle. It was a grid of perfect logic. She mapped algebraic expressions over the muddy puddles. If X represents the depth of this puddle and Y represents the distance to the next dry patch, then the optimal path is. Her mind moved faster than her feet, calculating trajectories, estimating angles, solving for the variable of survival before she even reached the school gate. The boda sputtered past her in chaotic bursts of noise and exhaust, their engines coughing black smoke into the dawn air. To anyone else, this was cacophony. To Achieng, it was physics. She translated their chaotic noise into frequencies and wavelengths. She calculated the Doppler effect as they approached and receded. She noted the harmonic distortion in their overrev engines and filed it away as data, as pattern, as something she could control. Because control was everything. The public school emerged from the mist like a promise she wasn't sure she believed in. Its corrugated iron roofs were rusted the color of dried blood. Its windows were gaping rectangles without glass, framed by peeling blue paint that had long surrendered to the sun. But inside those walls, inside classroom 7B, where the blackboard still held faint ghosts of yesterday's equations, Achieng was untouchable. Her mind was a fortress. She didn't fidget. She didn't pass notes or giggle at the back of the room. The mathematics textbook, worn at the edges and missing its back cover, opened itself to her like scripture. Her teacher, a man who had once lowered his chalk in quiet defeat, who had watched year after year as his brightest students succumbed to pregnancy, to alcohol, to the grinding machinery of poverty that chewed up potential and spat out survival, now looked at her with a terrifying reverence. The teacher had called the headmaster to his desk. They stood in the corner, their voices low, but Achieng's ears had been trained by years of listening for danger in her mother's house. She heard everything. The headmaster, a very strict man with a mustache that seemed to droop with the weight of his responsibilities, nodded slowly. She didn't look up. She already knew what they were saying. 450. The numbers glowed in her mind like coordinates on a map. Escape. She only cared about the exit. She didn't whisper. She simply absorbed. The English comprehension passages, dense with colonial vocabulary and metaphors she had never experienced firsthand, unfolded into logical structures she could dissect and reassemble. It was a Tuesday afternoon, the kind of humid, heavy day when the air itself seemed to press against the classroom windows, begging to be let in. 445, her teacher whispered, his voice thick with uncharacteristic hope. Even 450. She will put this school on the map. He looked across the room at Achieng, who was bent over a practice paper, her pencil moving in smooth, confident strokes. She didn't need to. She had calculated her own projected scores 100 times, running the numbers through every possible permutation of exam difficulty, every variable of stress and circumstance. They pointed to one destination, and one destination only: But Achieng didn't care about the map.